Hello everyone, welcome to a how to build video for Margaret Ludo, an advent of Flash Covenant of Light Ludociel. So this is of course Margaret Ludo. I'm losing my voice, no! Anyway, let's get into it. So she's actually a very good character, mainly for PvE now, but she was very good for PvP at the time. Her stats aren't the worst, but definitely not the best. She's currently rocking HP defense, so 200% crit damage isn't the worst, 71% crit chance. That lifesteal is actually very good. Crit defense is very good. Crit resistance, it's decent, very decent. And let's get into her cards. She does have a charge AoE. Unfortunately, charge is not the best, but it still isn't the worst. Ignoring defense can sometimes be very useful, especially if the enemy has really high defense, for example a null for me, or on the bird on phase 4, floor 1. Very useful. She also has a buff card. This is actually probably one of the most broken buff cards in the game. It removes debuffs at level 1, and damage increase by 30%, damage decrease by 20%. And 45, 30, and increases all basic stats by 20%, which is like an Arthur level 2 card. And then damage dealt is increased by 50%, damage decreased by 40%, which is actually very broken. Especially the damage output and the damage decrease. The stat bonus is obviously a really good bit as well, but it's not the most needed. Sever, she does have a Sever ultimate, and at 6/6 it does have an effect. Unfortunately, I do only have her 2/6, but I'll go into the effect a little later on. She does have a Grace. Her Graces increase the hero's attack by 5% for each stance or buff on the enemy when using a skill. So normally Margaret is actually very useful when doing some bosses. Some bosses give you have a lot of buffs, or some demonic beasts have buffs, or even some teams used to have a lot of buffs. For example, Barn or even Margaret teams had a lot of buffs, so Margaret would buff herself a lot. But as a Grace, that means you can then put on other characters. So let's just say you're rocking P melee. You're rocking Purgatory melee. You got your Ludo Grace on, or Ludo/Margaret Grace on, and you verse a Barn team. Let's just say you probably wouldn't, but let's say you verse a Barn team, and he uses a buff card. You're going to get decent chunk of stats, 30% increased attack, which is very decent. When it comes to her passive is also very good as well. Increase the basic stats. The increased Goddess allies basic stats 8% every time an ally uses a stance or buff skill. Limit 5 times. So it's actually very useful. Of course, it only works in the front, but if you are doing final boss for points or knighthood boss for points, 5 buffs is pretty easy. You just use Red Tarmiel and Margaret. You know, you get. Sometimes you do have times where you don't pull any buffs at all, which has happened to me before. But sometimes, of course, you do pull a lot of buffs, and it's very easy, 40% basic stats. Coming on to her relic now. Her relic is for each ally from the Archangels. So of course, Tarmiel, either both the Tarmiels or both the Sariels, because they're the only ones that are in the Archangel category, not including herself, which you can't have 2 Ludos on the field. For each ally from the Archangels, the battlefield increase the hero's damage dealt to enemies by 5% and decrease the hero's damage taken by 5%, which is very good. Unfortunately, it is only her, as it states, the heroes, means it only increases her own damage, which is okay. The stats the stats you get from it are probably what you want more than the actually the effect's somewhat decent, especially if you're using Margaret's Orm when you have it at a higher level. At 6/6, 945% multiplier, and it gives everyone the debuff, which stops them from having an effect on their skill. Also works on ultimates as well, and decreases damage double almost 30%. So yeah, it lasts for 2 turns. It is very good. Of course, that excludes stances and recovery skills, because you can't disable recovery skills or stances unless it's like. I don't think you can't disable healing skills at all. So for sets, I have 2 sets for her. I have this set, which is more of my other Ludo set, which I did make for the other Ludo, and then I have this Attack Gridam set, which was the initial set I gave her. I initially gave her this Attack Gridam set, as at the time she was very DPS. I used to use her as a bird. She's an overall good DPS at the time. Of course, she's nearly rocking 60k CC, even with Attack Gridam. We give her HP defense, and she still has. Oh, I backed out too far. 63k, very good. I would nowadays recommend HP defense over like anything for her, because she is mainly now a support character for stats and for the buff. You know, very good. When we come to outfits, I do, of course, recommend leveling up this. Like, even if you don't have it on her, just level these up because it'll also level it up on the other one as well. The only outfit I actually have is the this one, which is the Halloween outfit, which is the one I really liked. I got this roughly when she released. So she released in, I want to say, oh, she released after Barn near Cusack, so August, I want to say sometime in August 2021. So this outfit came out in October. So yeah, it was a little while, but yeah, I did get this outfit for her. I did really like it, and I would recommend anyone getting it if they really did like it. This one isn't the best, but it's a free outfit, so I'll take it. Relic-wise, stats, defense is good, HP is average, attack is very average. Of course, we've seen the effect already. Overall, this Margaret is very good for PvE still. You do see she's also very good as a link. I do give her that. She's a very good link, and she is very good for PvE still. So, of course, in those aspects, I do highly recommend her. Whether it just be you level her up and you give her this gear just for final boss or for knighthood boss, as some knighthoods do have a minimum limit of points you can get. Anyway, thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.